Holy shit. What the hell is that thing? When I looked down again, the invisible man was already gone. I carefully climbed down from the attic and grabbed a fruit knife nearby. I followed the marks on the floor all the way to the kitchen, only to realize he had already washed off the paint. Then, out of nowhere, he grabbed me by the throat. I fought back with everything I had, but he had me completely pinned. All I could do was grab whatever was near me and throw it at him. But the next second, he slammed me across the room. Oh, my back. And the nightmare wasn't over. My husband was a total control freak. That night, while he was asleep, I tried to escape. But after only a few steps, I accidentally kicked the dog bowl. Thank God he didn't wake up. I quickly grabbed my backpack and ran outside. Then I felt like someone was following me. I spun around and realized it was just our dog. I crouched down and took off its shock collar, but accidentally triggered the alarm. Oh shit, this is so bad. I immediately climbed over the wall and rushed toward the road. At the same time, the bedroom light turned on. He was awake. Luckily, my sister pulled up in her car just in time. I had barely gotten into the car when my husband suddenly appeared outside the window. My sister freaked out, slammed the gas, and got me out of there. After escaping, I moved into my friend's house, but I was still too scared to go outside. Even when I went online, I covered the webcam because I was terrified he could somehow find me. Then suddenly the doorbell rang. It was my sister. She told me something insane. My husband was dead. What the fuck? I didn't believe it until she showed me the news. Staring at the death report on the screen, I finally believed it. I was finally fucking free. But the nightmare wasn't actually over. That night, while I was sleeping, my blanket somehow slipped onto the floor. I woke up from the cold. The second I opened my eyes, I saw a dark figure standing in the room. But when I looked closer, it was just a dressmaker's mannequin. Seriously, it scared the hell out of me. When I bent down to pick up the blanket, I noticed the couch had a dent in it, like someone was sitting there. I grabbed the blanket and whipped it toward the couch. Nothing. So maybe I was hallucinating. But as I dragged the blanket back toward the bed, something suddenly pulled it from the other side. I turned around and saw 2 footprints appear on the blanket. I dropped it in terror and screamed for my friend. I told him everything I had just seen, but no matter how hard I tried to explain, he didn't believe me. He thought I was under too much stress and had probably just had a nightmare. He told me to go back to sleep, but how the hell was I supposed to sleep after that? I went into the bathroom, hoping a hot shower would clear my head. But then I saw something sitting on the sink. It was my sleeping pills. But that bottle had fallen at my husband's house. So why was it here now? That was when I finally understood. My husband wasn't dead. From that moment on, I started desperately looking for proof. Then suddenly, I thought of a way. I took out my phone and called my husband's number. The next second, a ringtone came from above my head. I dragged over a ladder and climbed up, shaking the whole way. And sure enough, in the attic, I found his phone. When I opened it, it was full of secretly taken photos of me. To find proof of his invisibility suit, I went to his lab. And there it was. I found the exact same invisible suit inside. I was just about to take it off when the dog downstairs started barking like crazy. I knew he was back. I hid the suit in the closet, then hid behind the door. The moment he walked in, I slammed into him with all my strength and ran. The dog jumped at him too, blocking him for me. I finally escaped the mansion. On the way back, I called my sister and told her to meet me at a crowded restaurant. I thought this time I could finally explain everything. But the second I sat down, a woman nearby suddenly screamed. The next moment, my sister collapsed in a pool of blood. I froze completely, and somehow there was a knife in my hand. Security tackled me to the ground, and in the end, I was sent to a psychiatric hospital. Over and over again, I told the doctors that an invisible man was trying to kill me. They just thought I was insane. After everyone left, that familiar voice suddenly whispered right next to my ear. He said I would never escape, and then came something even more terrifying. After the medical exam results came back, the doctor told me I was pregnant. I deliberately knocked the files off the table and, in the chaos, stole a pen. That night, I took the pen apart and, without hesitating, stabbed the tip into my arm. I was gambling. I was betting that he wouldn't just stand there and watch the baby get hurt. And I was right. An invisible hand suddenly grabbed me. Now. I spun around and stabbed the pen hard into the empty air. The next second, the invisibility suit tore open. The outline of a man finally appeared. The guards heard the noise and rushed in. This time, they finally saw the invisible man. But before they could react, he grabbed an electric baton and shocked them unconscious. I took the chance to shove him away and run. In the hospital hallway, a gun suddenly floated in midair. The guard raised his hands, begging for mercy. But the next second, a gunshot rang out, and he still dropped to the floor. The invisible man's suit was damaged, so he didn't dare stay any longer and immediately fled the hospital. The rain made his outline flicker in and out of sight. I chased him to the parking lot, but suddenly an invisible force grabbed me by the neck. He leaned close to my ear and warned me. If I kept fighting back, he wouldn't just come after me. He would go after everyone around me, including Paul's daughter. I completely panicked. I stole a car and, while driving, called Paul, telling him to get home immediately. At the most critical moment, I arrived with a fire extinguisher. The white powder instantly revealed the shape of a person. I raised the gun and fired several shots. The invisible man finally dropped. I rushed over and pulled off the mask. But the person inside wasn't my husband. It was his brother. Soon after, the police found my husband tied up in the basement of the beach house. All the evidence made it look like he was the victim, but I didn't believe it. If he could fake his own death, he could fake a kidnapping too. He could fool everyone else, but he couldn't fool me. That night, I called my husband and asked him to meet me at the beach house. He had prepared a whole dinner, acting all loving and romantic, asking me to come back to him. I told him to tell the truth. I told him to admit that he arranged everything, but he refused. He stepped closer and closer, saying he knew me better than anyone else in the world. And that sentence was all I needed. That was the moment I knew for sure. He was the invisible man. Only the person who had truly tortured me would speak to me in that exact tone. I pretended to break down emotionally and got up to go to the bathroom. Meanwhile, he sat at the dining table, waiting for me to fall back under his control. But what he didn't know was that I had already hidden another invisibility suit. The next second, a dull sound came from the dining room. He clutched his throat and collapsed to the floor. The security camera recorded everything, making it look exactly like he had killed himself. I rushed out of the bathroom, acting completely panicked, and immediately called emergency services. But as I slowly stepped out of the camera's view, the fear on my face faded away. I looked coldly at my husband lying on the floor, then sat beside him and softly said one word.
Surprise.
Surprise.